My fingers froze mid-scroll, a wave of heat rushing from my chest to my face as my sister's Instagram post filled my phone screen. There she was, lounging on a pristine Hawaiian beach, designer sunglasses perched on her head, holding a blue cocktail garnished with a tiny paper umbrella. The caption read, "Living my best life. Number #no regrets #treat yourself." I might have scrolled past it if not for the gold card glinting in the corner of the photo. The same distinctive card design I'd been searching for all week. My lost card, the one connected to my business account. 3 rapid notifications pinged my phone. Fraud alerts from my bank. $13,421.88 in new charges. All from Hawaii. All in the last 72 hours. My name is Amanda. I'm 29 and the owner of a digital marketing agency. This is the story of how I reclaimed my identity from the people who were supposed to protect it. Everything okay? My assistant Natalie glanced up from her desk. I hadn't realized I was standing, my coffee mug tilted dangerously in my hand. "No," I whispered, turning my phone to show her the image. My sister just charged over $13,000 to my business account for a Hawaiian vacation. Natalie's eyes widened as she scrolled through the photos. "But didn't you open a completely different card for your mom's medical expenses?" "Exactly." I set my mug down carefully, my hands suddenly too unsteady to hold it. That card had a $5,000 limit. This one, I tapped the gold edge visible in the photo, has no preset spending limit. It's tied to Ellis Marketing Group's operating account. I'd thought the gold card was safely filed away in my home office. I hadn't used it since setting up auto payments for the business software subscriptions last quarter. The last place I expected to see it was in my sister's manicured hand, 4,000 miles away on a beach in Maui. My phone buzzed again, a text from my sister, Bethany. "Thanks for covering my vacation. The resort is amazing. Don't worry, I only spent about $100,000. You can afford it with your fancy business. Love you, kiss." The office suddenly felt too small, the air too thin. I grabbed my laptop and jacket. I need to check something, cancel my afternoon calls. 20 minutes later, I sat in my parked car outside my mother's condo. My laptop balanced on the steering wheel as I logged into my business account. The charges were even worse than the alert suggested. Not $13,000, over $97,000 in just 5 days. First-class flights, luxury resorts, designer boutiques, spa treatments, all neatly time-stamped and geotagged to Maui. But here was the detail that made my stomach drop. These weren't just random purchases. Each transaction had required my business, EIN number, and security verification. Someone had methodically gathered all my business credentials and deliberately used them to authorize these charges. I forced myself to breathe as I dialed my mother's number. She answered on the first ring. "Amanda, is everything okay?" "No, Mom, it's not." "Bethany's in Hawaii spending money on my business card. Did you know about this?" The pause lasted 2 beats too long. "Oh, that!" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "She said you gave her permission to use it, for everything she's done helping with my recovery." I pressed my forehead against the steering wheel. "Mom, I opened a separate card specifically for your medical expenses." "You know that. I never gave her permission to use my business account." Another pause. "Well, she must have misunderstood." "Misunderstood? She's posted 17 photos bragging about spending my money." "Amanda, don't exaggerate. It's just a little vacation. Besides, after everything you've achieved while she's struggled, don't you think she deserves something nice for once?" That's when I heard it. The familiar rustle of papers being moved, the soft click of a purse clasp. My mother was looking for something. "Mom, what are you doing?" "Nothing, dear." "Do you have my card?" The silence stretched out between us. Finally, "I thought it was the one you gave me for prescriptions. It has Ellis on it." "That's my business name, Mom. Ellis Marketing Group, not our family name." My voice cracked. "How did Bethany get it?" I might have let her borrow it. For emergencies. I keep them both in my desk drawer. She must have taken it when she was helping organize my paperwork last month." I closed my eyes, letting the betrayal wash over me fully. Not just my sister, but my mother, too. The two people I'd reorganized my entire life to support after Dad died. I'm coming over. 15 minutes later, I stood in my mother's kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd spent countless Sundays helping her with bills since her arthritis made writing checks difficult. The same kitchen where 3 months ago I'd sat down and explained that I was opening a credit card specifically for her medical expenses. Where is it? I kept my voice steady. My mother's eyes darted to her purse on the counter. I reached for it, but she moved faster, snatching it away. Amanda, you're overreacting. Bethany deserves a break after everything she's been through. What she's been through? Mom, I'm the one who's been paying your mortgage for the past year. I'm the one who drives you to every doctor's appointment. I'm the one who opened a credit card specifically for your medical bills. And now you're throwing it in my face? Her voice rose, familiar territory when confronted. After everything I've done for you girls. I took a step back, suddenly seeing with perfect clarity the dynamic I'd been trapped in for years. The responsible daughter, always expected to give more, never allowed to question why. Mom, give me the card. She clutched her purse tighter. Bethany said you wouldn't understand, that you've always been selfish with your success. The words hit like a physical blow. I'd started my business from my bedroom 4 years ago, working 80-hour weeks while also managing my mother's care after her diagnosis. I'd given Bethany money for rent 3 times in the past year alone. I'd covered Mom's property taxes when she forgot to budget for them. Without another word, I turned and walked to the door. Where are you going? My mother's voice followed me. To call my lawyer. It wasn't an empty threat. Back in my car, I called Maya Hensley, the corporate attorney who'd helped me establish my LLC 2 years earlier. Amanda, good to hear from you. How's business? Not good, Maya. I need your help with fraud, family fraud. To her credit, Maya didn't miss a beat. Tell me everything. For the next 20 minutes, I laid out the situation, the discovered card, the Hawaii charges, my mother's reaction. When I finished, I expected shock, perhaps even sympathy. Instead, she asked, civil or criminal? The question hung in the air. Until that moment, I hadn't fully processed that what my sister had done wasn't just a family betrayal. It was a crime. Both, I said, surprising myself with the firmness in my voice. Good, Maya replied. Because this isn't just credit card theft. This is business identity theft with interstate commerce implications. That's federal territory. She walked me through the next steps, freezing the card, filing a formal fraud report with both the bank and the business insurance provider, documenting the social media posts as evidence, and preparing for what would likely become a legal battle. Your sister made one critical mistake, Maya said. She didn't use a personal card, she used a business card. That's not just stealing from you. That's stealing from a registered LLC with fraud protection insurance and legal standing. The penalties are much more severe. That night, I pulled together every piece of evidence, screenshots of Bethany's Instagram posts, bank statements, text messages. I created a folder labeled Legal Bethany Fraud Case and sent it all to Maya. Then I texted my sister. Hope the piña coladas were worth it. You'll be hearing from the fraud unit soon. 3 laughing emojis appeared almost instantly. Then, you wouldn't dare. We're family. There it was, the shield she'd hidden behind her entire life. The idea that blood ties granted her immunity from consequences. I forwarded the exchange to Maya. Perfect, she wrote back. Thanks for handing us motive. The next morning, my mother called. Her voice had that particular edge, not quite angry, not quite pleading, that she used when trying to make me back down. Amanda, this has gone far enough. It was just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding is taking the wrong umbrella, Mom. This was deliberate. She knew exactly what she was doing. She's your sister. She made a mistake. I stared out my office window at the skyline I'd worked so hard to earn a view of. Stealing nearly $100,000 isn't a mistake. It's a felony. She only did it because she knew you'd say no if she asked. I did say no, Mom. 3 times this year when she wanted investment money for schemes that never materialized. She didn't just take my card, she took my identity, my business reputation. There was a pause. Then she played her final card. You know, if you go through with this, the family will have to choose sides. The threat hung there, familiar in its manipulation but somehow powerless now, because the word family had stopped meaning safety to me a long time ago. Then they'll have to choose, I said quietly, and ended the call. That afternoon, Maya called with an update. The bank has frozen all charges and launched a formal investigation. The business insurance company has assigned an investigator and flagged this as high priority. What happens next? I asked. Your sister's accounts will be frozen for suspicious activity. Once the insurance company verifies the fraud claim, which is basically guaranteed given the evidence, they'll reimburse your business account. Then they'll pursue her for restitution. Pursue her how? Civil lawsuit minimum. Given the amount, they may recommend criminal charges as well. I nodded, forgetting she couldn't see me through the phone. Good, I said, and meant it. That evening, I received an email from Bethany. The subject line read, "Please, Amanda." The message was a masterpiece of manipulation. She wrote about how her life was falling apart, how she'd been going through things when she took the card, how Mom had been sick and she'd panicked. She ended with, "If you drop the case, I'll pay you back. Swear on everything." I replied with a single sentence, "Pay the insurance company. They own the debt now." 2 hours later, my mother emailed, "What kind of daughter ruins her own family for the sake of proving a point?" I closed my laptop without responding, because the real question was, what kind of mother lets one daughter rob the other blind and calls it loyalty? Days passed. The fraud investigation moved quickly. Bank records, IP addresses, device logs. The insurance company approved the claim, refunding the full amount to my business account. But that wasn't the end. As Maya had predicted, once the insurance paid out, they had the right to pursue Bethany for restitution, which they did, with the full force of their legal team. Somehow, the story leaked. Perhaps through a bank employee, perhaps through Bethany herself, trying to garner sympathy. The insurance investigator later confirmed that Bethany had contacted several news outlets herself, apparently hoping public sympathy would pressure me to drop the case. All I knew was that suddenly, her name appeared in local business headlines. Woman faces $100,000 fraud accusation after using sister's business card for Hawaiian vacation. The photo they used showed her on the beach, sunglasses perched on her head, cocktail in hand, still wearing that familiar, smug smile. My mother texted again, "You've embarrassed this family enough. Haven't you done enough damage?" The irony almost made me laugh. I'd opened a credit card for legitimate medical expenses. They had turned it into an opportunity for theft. The only thing I was guilty of was refusing to be their victim any longer. When Maya called to tell me the insurance company was pursuing civil restitution, she asked if I wanted to testify. "Yes," I said without hesitation, not to punish her, but to record the truth. Because I knew that someday, someone would tell this story differently. Paint Bethany as the misunderstood sister, me as the cruel one who wouldn't help family. I wanted the facts on record. She lied. She stole. She bragged about it publicly. I could forgive her, but I wouldn't excuse her. The courthouse was colder than I expected, both in temperature and atmosphere. Bethany sat across the room, dressed in a beige sweater that seemed deliberately chosen to project humility. Gone were the designer sunglasses and beach selfie confidence. She didn't look at me once during the proceedings. When the prosecutor asked if I'd like to speak, I rose from my seat, surprised by my own steadiness. "I'm not here for revenge," I began. "I'm here to reclaim my name." I told the court about our family dynamic, the bills I'd paid, the support I'd provided, the card I'd opened specifically for my mother's medical care. I described the moment I saw the Hawaii photos and how the betrayal felt like a physical blow. She didn't just steal money, I concluded. She stole trust. She took my identity, my face, my credit, my reputation, and wore it like a costume to fund her vacation. She turned my hard work into her playground, then expected me to accept it because we shared DNA. The courtroom remained silent when I finished. As I sat down, I realized I felt no anger, no fear, just clarity. The ruling came quickly. Bethany was ordered to pay full restitution to the insurance company. Her assets would be monitored. Any attempt to open new lines of credit would trigger an automatic report. She was legally bound, financially cornered. Outside the courthouse, I walked past her toward the parking lot. She caught up to me, her voice low. "Are you happy now?" she asked. I stopped and turned to face her fully. "I'm not happy or unhappy. I'm whole again." She scoffed. "You think this makes you better than us?" I looked directly into her eyes, the same shape as mine, the same color as our father's. "No," I said. "It just makes me free from you." Then I walked away, each step lighter than the last. That night, I closed the final tab on my laptop. Fraud reports, bank statements, insurance claims. I clicked Archive on the folder, then opened a new one labeled Boundaries Do Not Cross. The weeks that followed were remarkably calm. No more emergency calls, no more guilt-wrapped requests. I blocked Bethany's number and removed my mother from my contacts, not out of anger, but necessity. 6 months later, my mother sent a letter acknowledging her role in enabling Bethany's behavior. But we've maintained our distance, speaking only occasionally on holidays with clear boundaries in place. Because healing isn't a door you open for guests who set your house on fire. The insurance refund arrived in my business account. I used part of it to hire a financial advisor and implement stricter security protocols. Maya helped me issue a formal statement to clients explaining the situation, which actually strengthened relationships as they appreciated my transparency and resilience in handling the fraud. I set up alerts for even the smallest unexpected charges. I'd learned that betrayal doesn't always wear a disguise. Sometimes it wears your last name. One afternoon, I walked past a jewelry store. In the window, a simple gold bracelet caught my eye. Elegant, understated. Mine, if I wanted it. Not the bracelet Bethany had borrowed 3 years ago and I'd later spotted in her Instagram photos. Not something I needed to hide or justify or share. Just something beautiful, purchased with my own card, with my name clearly printed on the receipt. As the sales associate slipped it onto my wrist, I remembered something my grandmother used to say before she passed. The people who truly love you will never make you prove it. I'd always thought that meant I had to earn love through sacrifice. Now I understood. Real love doesn't require you to compromise your boundaries. It doesn't demand that you set yourself on fire to keep others warm. I walked home, the new bracelet light on my wrist, my phone silent in my pocket. At my front door, I paused, taking in the quiet. No drama waiting on the other side. No eggshells to walk on, real or emotional. Just space and peace and a version of myself I hadn't met in years. Whole, unapologetic. Finally free from the belief that forgiveness means reunion. It doesn't. Sometimes forgiveness simply means closing the ledger, not forgetting the debt, but choosing never to let it drain you again. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles, zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.